All right, we're live. It's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. I've got Shelly with Two Old Crows Homestead, and we've got William Bond, the Permaculture Consultant tonight. We're glad everybody's here. If you got any questions, throw them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer those and stuff like that. But we got William tonight, and he has started a new venture, but William, for anybody that doesn't know who you are, what you're doing, kind of start some of your background and what you've got and how you became the permaculture consultant.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of you guys might know that I came from Permaculture Farm. That's my parents' YouTube channel. I helped them start that quite a few years ago, I guess now. But I grew up doing at first preparedness and then transitioned into homesteading, which is every prepper's was a natural journey is realize that, oh, I need resupply, so they transition into homesteading, and then just grew up with this whole lifestyle since then. And then since graduating high school, I've gone to the Earthship Biotecture, the Earthship Academy. I've gotten my PDC under Nicholas Bertner at the Dallas School of Permaculture, and then I also got a in-person PDC with Jeff Lawton in Australia. I was out at his farm for about 6 months and worked alongside with him at his farm in Zaytuna, called Zaytuna, out at the Channon. But yeah, that's my back. And then ever since then, I've been doing consultation work. We've been building homesteads in various locations along the United States. And yeah, I just recently started my own YouTube channel called The Permaculture Consultant. And on there, I'm showing everybody this abandoned permaculture demonstration site that I'm rehabilitating right now. It was the very first homestead that we started filming at the beginning of Permaculture's Farm. If you look at the first 20 or 30 videos or something like that, the all those videos are at this demonstration site. And it's been abandoned for about almost 5 years. So I'm rehabilitating that right now. I'm going to turn that into a homestead training school. And in the meantime, I'm doing in-person and phone consultations. In fact, tomorrow evening, I'll be leaving for a consultation out in West Texas. So yeah. Hey, what's up? Just saw the chat pop up. That's cool. What's up, Link? What's up, Vicky Savage? That's awesome. But yeah, that's my.
I've been trying to pop them up as they come.
Oh, okay.
So tell us.
Yeah.
I'll pop them up.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Can you pop them up, William?
If I exit the full screen, I can. Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, I can pop them up too.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, tell us. Yeah. I've been watching the progress that you're doing on the place in Texas. It looks you've got your work cut out for you. That's for sure out there. I mean, I can see that it's what'd you say? 5 years of being nobody there.
Yeah, about 4.5, 5 years of just complete abandonment, and like it was. We had before we left, we had installed swales with fruit trees planted on the mound part of the swales. And all, if not, well, I would say about 80% of the fruit trees survived. The nitrogen fixing trees did exactly what they were supposed to. They surpassed the fruit trees, became the protective overstory for the fruit trees, and let most of the stuff on the swale thrive because they provided shade in this intense Texas summer sun. Also, there was a pretty decent drought last year out here in Texas. It got hotter for a longer period of time than most of the old timers around here recognized or I've ever seen before. And like all the trees did perfectly fine because of the swales. They captured and harvested the water whenever there was rain actually occurring and stuff like that. Yeah, that all survived. A lot of the garden beds, I had to rip all the old garden beds out because the boards rotted. I reoriented the garden so that now it'll capture and harvest water passively. Yeah, it's I'm kind of running in every direction at all at once because I gave myself a deadline of getting the school ready by the end of this year. So hopefully by next winter, I'll have the first, I guess, students at this homestead school. At least testing it out and seeing how it goes and all that type of stuff. But here pretty soon, I'll be getting pigs from the Texas boys. I'll be getting about 8 pigs from them. And then as soon as those guys show up, then I'll go to a sale barn and I'll just pick up some chickens. I don't even care what kind of chickens they are. I just need them to make compost for me.
And I was amazed, one of the things with the swales, because I came down when y'all did the swales class down at Special Operations. I really didn't know what was going on with it. I was like, but I want to come down there and meet y'all, see what's going on. Then after that, I had a clear understanding, and it's awesome to see something that y'all put in. Would y'all put that in probably 7 years ago then? Something like that?
Oh, man. Yeah, probably. Yeah, 6, 7 years ago. Yeah, probably 7 years ago. Yeah, some of those even older than 7 because they were put in stages.
Yeah.
In at the very front of the property, the ones closest to the fence line, those were the very first swales we had ever dug. And those were 3 feet by 1 foot deep, 3 feet wide by 1 foot deep. And we found out that that's a little bit too small of a swale to give you enough planting space on the mound side. Because with the swale, everything you excavate from the ditch goes immediately on the downhill side of the ditch. Now, if that mound isn't very big, then you don't have much planting space or growing area. So on the other side of the driveway, so just if you move to the east side of the driveway, we have the next generation of swales in which we did the 6 foot wide, 2 feet deep. No deeper than 2 feet, because we did another iteration of swales further down the property where we went deeper, and that doesn't work out as well. It just creates a cliff for you to fall into. But the 2x6 swale worked perfectly. It gave you plenty of mound to plant in, captured a ton of water. I need to actually calculate how much water that property captures and holds on to. And that's only a quarter of the property maybe that's actually harvesting water. And so far there's 6, 7, 8, 9 swales on that property. Then they're pretty small in length.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing, what I was getting at. Y'all put those in like 7 years ago. Nothing was done to it for 5 years. And essentially you came down and cleaned it up, and you were saying like 80% of the fruit trees had survived, and y'all had nothing with it. It's been running on autopilot, and it looks like it's been doing pretty stinking good, really.
Yeah, and then also now that it's been kind of established over there, anything that I plant now is going to do fantastic, because the entire time there's been growth and death and regrowth and death, and over again, it's feeding the soil microbes in the mound part of the swale. So anything I plant there now is going to do fantastic, because the soil biology in that area has been undisturbed. So there's been no compaction. It's been doing nothing but growing and getting better over time, especially with the amount of nitrogen fixtures and pioneer species that were planted on that mound. It was only going to do well. And then also in the garden area, with it going fallow for the past 4.5, 5, or however many years, the garden soil over there is fantastic.
Really?
It all has perfect crumb structure. It's all that deep chocolate colored brown and all that stuff, and it's perfect over there. I've been taking some of that garden soil and sifting it and turning it into potting soil, and it's working awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, permaculture works, y'all. I told y'all.
So is there a simple, easy way for you to explain to us how to calculate how much water your land retains or whatever?
You can, so like if you're doing it on a large scale, like you're trying to check how much water your pasture holds on to and stuff, and you don't have any earthworks, you can do a soil test and find out the organic matter in your soil. And for every 1% of organic matter in your soil, you can retain 20,000 more gallons of water per acre. So every 1% per acre it goes up, that's another 20,000 gallons per acre that it's going to hold on to. So if you're checking it that way on a large scale, that's how you do that. If you're checking like on your swales, if you're trying to figure out how much water your swale is capturing and harvesting, you just take your a real general way to do it is just calculate the volume of the actual ditch part of your swale, and then also calculate the annual rain percentage of the year, and then try to figure out how often that swale would actually fill up. So it doesn't really count if the water is hitting the overflow of the swale and is just spilling out. You are managing it, but you're not necessarily harvesting it. You are slowing it down and giving it more of a chance to soak in, but it's not captured in the mound or in the ditch part of the swale and being forced to soak into the landscape. So yeah, those that's a couple of different ways. If you're using any roof space, then that's even easier. Like if you're using roofs to capture rainwater and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how you calculate how much your water is or how much water your land is retaining.
So as far as getting your soil checked out, is that something you may be able to help some people with at the festival?
I can't tell you how much organic material is in there, and I am trying to get the computer and microscope situation squared away. But yeah, I plan on bringing the microscope out there and showing you soil biology tests. I can't test the amount of organic material, your water, or like how much your soil actually has, or anything like that. But I'm hoping to do some soil microbe, at least demonstrations, hopefully some tests, and get some ideas of what you guys' soil looks like. So we might be even be able to test some of the soil at the location.
It looks like Mona Lisa might need to talk to you about getting a consultation.
Yeah.
Oh man, uninhabited for 13 plus years. Depending on where that is, that could be really overgrown or not much at all. Oh man. Yeah, you guys in the comments are asking awesome questions.
Yeah.
Planted 12 fruit trees, future guilds use cardboard to suppress the weeds. How can I now add any plants under the tree if it's all covered with cardboard and mulch? So if you plant anything, like if you're planting seeds, make a little cylinder between the mulch area, add a little bit of potting soil, and then plant the seed into that. The cardboard will break it down over the time, and the roots will be able to make it past the cardboard. If you're trying to plant actual seedlings or starts or anything like that, or potted plants, just puncture through the cardboard and plant the roots down past that. And make sure you don't pile up the trunk of whatever you're planting with wood chips. Make sure it's not in contact with that. Any recommendation on a microscope? Oh man, like an Omax is good, but be careful because the Omax won't work with Max, like MAC apostrophe S, like Apple Max. You have to use, or the camera. Well, the camera that works with the Omax doesn't work with Macs. You have to use like a PC or Linux or something like that. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, is why I want to work with this Mac. I don't quite understand the benefits of planting comfrey. Well, there are, I mean, really a ton of benefits. It's a dynamic accumulator, so it's accumulating a bunch of nutrients and minerals and all that stuff from the soil, bringing it up to the leaves, making it bioavailable to the plant. So whenever it dies, it hits the ground, breaks down, and then feeds the surrounding area and the surrounding soil and stuff. Also, it's going to decompact your soil. It goes through a stage of growth and then dying back and then regrowth and all that stuff. So as it dies back and then pushes back out, it's decompacting any of the soil. And it doesn't care if it's rocky soil, clay soil, sandy soil, anything like that. It will eventually break it down and break it up a little bit. And then as far as if you have any livestock, feed them that comfrey. You can use it yourself for medicinal applications. You can turn it into salves. You can turn it into tinctures. You can use it as a poultice directly on your skin. I mean, it was traditionally eaten in like Russia and Ukraine and all that stuff. It was traditionally eaten like spinach. In the UK, it was thought rude to not have comfrey plants growing in your garden, because it's like, what are you doing without your first aid kit type thing?
Yeah. Shelly, did you ever make any salve from the comfrey I gave you?
Actually, I'm gonna make some pretty soon. It's still I put it in oil to soak in that, so I haven't done it yet.
And the comfrey, really, the comfrey will grow anywhere. I mean, and you don't. I mean, and we got a bunch of cuttings and put it out, and I mean the stuff is just gone crazy here. It's all over in my food forest, and literally you don't have to baby it. We took the root cuttings, stuck them in the ground, and walked away, and that's the only thing we did.
You can propagate it with a tiller. You can just run over it with the tiller and have 10 times the amount of comfrey plants you had last time. Like it's not a rough plant, or it's not a delicate plant at all. It does well almost everywhere. Horse riding arena, think compacted clay and sand to garden transformation. What would you do? Horse riding arena, so you can guarantee some pretty heavy compaction. So the first thing you need to do is decompact the soil. So if you have access to like a tractor with a yeoman's plow, that would probably be your best bet. Or you can go out there with a broad fork. You just need to make sure you're getting beneath the compaction layer. Once that happens, then you can just get something planted and that'll build up the soil and stuff like that. Or you can just let it go, depending on what you're trying to do with it afterwards. But the first thing you have to do is decompact the soil so the microbes have space and room to actually move around and create a civilization. So yeah, it's that's the first step. Depending on what you're trying to do with it would determine the steps after that.
What do you think about doing daikon radishes and planting those and just
That's
letting
awesome.
them go?
For sure, yeah.
As
You
far
just
as
have to get them to a stage. Yeah, you just have to get them to a stage where they can actually grow. Horse riding arena, depending on what that, it all depends on what the soil is already. But it has the potential to be very, very compacted. You might have to decompact it before the radishes can even take. I just watched a YouTuber showing how you can make biochar starting in your wood stove. Wish I knew that 4 years ago when we moved here to North Idaho, but starting now. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. You could make just like a little number 10 can reactor and do your own biochar in your wood stove if you wanted to.
Forrest, I've never seen it. Yeah, Forrest, I've never seen it. Hit me up, and by the time the festival rolls around, I might be able to dig some for you. So,
yeah,
Forrest,
do you have any popping up right now?
No, there's none popping up right now yet. So,
okay.
But hopefully I'll have a little bit that I can dig up for you, Forrest.
It just started popping up around here a couple days ago, and then it got cold again, and yeah. The question is, after you run over it with the tiller, how do you get rid of it if you want something else? Well, you don't. It's there forever. Unless you just sift the whole area and get every piece of root out. Yeah, it's there forever.
But you don't really want to get rid of it.
Exactly. I don't know why you'd want to. But if you really did want to get rid of it, what you could do is chop it all down, cover it with cardboard, and then every time you see something pop up, like any piece of green pop back up, you would have to cover it up with cardboard again. You have to outcompete its potential energy, and it's got a lot of doggone potential energy. So it's going to be like a long, long war you're going to have to do. But don't get rid of it.
But it won't now. Correct me if I'm wrong, William. It won't start spreading unless you spread it yourself, right?
It depends on the variety you get. If you have the Russian Bocking number 14, then it does not spread by seed. If you get like the North American common comfrey, then it can spread, and it'll spread by seed, and it won't get too crazy, but it will spread. Now, the downside of the American common comfrey is that it's lower in allantoin, which is the healing compound of comfrey, and it just is way more bitter for your animals. If you get the Russian Bocking number 14, then it's the best tasting for your animals, and it's the highest comfrey plant in allantoin levels. So there's the benefits of that.
And that's what I've got, because I got it from your parents, and that's what I've got here. Yep, and that's what Shelly's got too.
Yep, I think that's what
Yep.
everybody's got now. Yeah.
And what, Shelly, we took a crown and cut it. That one crown, or that one that we did, what did we get? Like 15 or 18?
It was 14 plants out of it, and it wasn't even a very big one. It was, I would say like a medium-sized plant. It wasn't huge and bushy, and we got 14 cuttings out of it, and 3 of them were like the crown part.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those crowns can be cut pretty small. Like
Yeah.
Jeff Lawton, when I was out there, we had in his main crop garden, he had certain rows that were dedicated to just perennial support species. And in those rows, he had a lot of comfrey. And when he would send us out there to go propagate the comfrey, he would be a little upset if it wasn't cut into at least 6 pieces with your machete. Like, it was not a delicate process. We propagated all of it with a machete. But yeah, he was a little upset if it didn't get cut into at least 6 pieces. But I mean, some of those bigger plants, they have it wasn't uncommon for me to cut like 82-inch piece cuttings off of a larger comfrey plant. It's not uncommon. Yeah. Oh, my comments weren't scrolling. There we go.
So I planted comfrey in a raised bed. The plan this year is to dig it up and put it in a few different areas. That's exactly what I did. I started with 1 bag of cuttings, and we just kept, as soon as the plants come up and get big enough, I would dig them out, split them, put one part of it back where I dug that up, and then just plant other places. And you can do that, and you wind up with a whole lot of comfrey quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if it's one of those plants where you just need one of. If you have one comfrey plant, you never have to buy comfrey again. One can turn into 100 very, very quickly.
Yeah.
If you do plant it, make sure you don't put it in potting soil. It doesn't do too well in potting soil. Just put it in whatever native soil you have around you. But yeah, like Miracle Grow and all that stuff, it doesn't do too well in. We have common comfrey here.
Common comfrey. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shelly. You got it. Sorry.
We have common comfrey here growing on our property wild. Can we transfer those to places we need to help when we start our orchard?
For sure. I would wait till, I know where you are. You're in northern Idaho. I would wait till you start getting warmer and start having like the comfrey actually pop up and get a little bit established. You want a little bit of root growth. So that way you can maximize the amount of comfrey cuttings you can get out of it. But yeah, I for sure would use it to get an area established for your future orchard area. Just plant it thick and just keep chop and drop and let it decompose in the areas that you plan on planting trees.
Excuse me. Yeah, comfrey is one of those things. I'm glad I ended up getting some and planting it. I mean, I've still got some comfrey hay that I made that's hanging up in the barn that I've still not fed the animals, and I'm going to try it. I forget about it because I don't run in there every day.
No.
So we're going to try it soon.
Do you guys feed any of the fresh stuff to your animals?
I fed just a little bit, and they seemed to like it once they found out what it was. I gave it to one of my sheep, and they just kind of looked at it, and they're like, "What is this?" So I was tired of standing there holding it, so I just threw it on the ground. I turned around a few minutes later, and it was all gone. So I'm like, they ate it and liked it. So tell us, William.
Have you given to your pigs?
No, I'm not giving anything to the pigs. But I figured they'd probably like it, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah. The pigs, we used to give them like buckets full at a time, and they love it. It's super high in protein as well, like 14% in protein.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kenneth was asking, how long will the cuttings last if you can't plant them right away?
Officially, like up to 3 months in the fridge if you put them in like coconut coir or peat moss. But I mean, like literally I've had comfrey stuck in the fridge for like a year, planted it, and it grew too. So it's pretty resilient, but try not to do any longer than 3 months in the fridge.
Then the Homestead Twins. How much mulch is too much when you're covering up the planted comfrey?
Oh, if you're covering the comfrey, then I wouldn't go any more than 6 inches. If you're planting it as a cutting, then only plant the cutting 2 inches deep horizontally, and let that grow up. But I've seen comfrey pop up through like 6 to 8 inches of mulch. I wouldn't give it too much of a fight on its way up for the first time. But if it's like an established crown, there's not going to be much that's going to stop that from popping up.
William, can you read that one? I think it's there.
Yeah. I did spring pruning of gooseberries, aronia, seaberry, and different currants, and I would like to propagate them. Right now, they're in water with willow branches. Will they take off? They should. I don't see why not, especially if they're in there with willow branches. That's like the world's best root growth hormone. They can't manufacture anything that performs even half as well as willow branches. So, yeah, that should work. Also curious if anybody has mailed comfrey. How do you do that? I told someone in Tennessee I would send them some. So to mail comfrey, what we did was just cut it into 2-inch pieces, put it in a Ziploc bag with peat moss or coconut coir, make it a little damp, just very, very little, not much at all. And then you just ship it off. Keep it refrigerated until you ship it, but that's the process. It's pretty easy. I don't know how to mail a whole plant though, so can you put willow branches in a compost? Yes, if they're like green 1-year growth. Otherwise the carbon to nitrogen ratio is too high. So like just the tips of branches, I should say. Otherwise, if you go further back to like the 2-year growth, 3-year growth, the carbon to nitrogen ratio is a little too high and it won't break down completely. It's good fungal food. It'll be good long-term fungal food, but it's not going to break down into like finished compost in anytime soon.
Hey, William, tell us a little bit more about what you're planning on for your demonstration site down there. I know you've talked a little bit about it. What are your exact plans?
So the like step by step, the plans I need to work on are the first is getting the driveway established. Right now the property is cut in half. Half of it is fenced. The other half is just completely wild, going all the way to the back. The front half, I need to reestablish the driveway. And I need to flatten out some new like not property sites, but house sites. I need to flatten out some house sites. One for where the location of the new building is going to be, and then another location for where the barn is going to be built. The new building is basically going to be I guess I'm just redoing the building already out there, just remodeling it, making it more aesthetically pleasing, a little bit more functional, stuff like that, getting that squared away. And then the barn is going to be 2 shipping containers with trusses built over the gap, and it'll be a nice little drive-through barn. So I need to get the sites prepared for that. I also need to get the driveway squared away enough so where somebody can come out and move these buildings for me without getting stuck in this heavy Play-Doh type clay that we have out here. And then after that, then I'll start dropping animals like crazy on the property and get the power turned on. And then it's not much left before I can start having students out there. I just need to get the building remodeled. That's going to be a big chunk of time. And then get the barn built, and that'll be a big chunk of time. But those are the big stumbling blocks right now. I plan on putting a root cellar out there, also a tornado shelter out there, because it is Texas, and if there's a tornado out there, yeah. there's a company that just popped up around here recently that is doing it for pretty cheap now. I think you can get a 10 or 12 person storage container, or not storage container, but tornado shelter for like $5 or $6 grand. So
That's not
as
bad
far
at
as
all.
tornado shelters, that's not bad. They just come and like dig the hole and plop it in and cover it up all in the same day. So
You should hook him up with your guy, Jason.
He's in Tennessee. I don't think he wants to drive all the way to Texas.
I don't know.
That's going to be expensive.
I would think wherever there's tornadoes.
yeah.
The storm shelter guy that was there last time, he's working on doing connexes now and making connexes into storm shelters. So
Wow,
really?
that's huge.
Yeah, that's a big storm shelter there.
Is he burying?
Yeah, he's going to bury them. He's going to reinforce them. He makes and custom fabs all the storm shelters that he does. They've got a whole welding shop, and they weld all of them. He's not buying them. So,
okay.
Which is pretty neat.
I would like to say that I'm intelligent enough to know what that means, but I have no idea what Steve Hall is talking about.
I don't know what that is either. By stool layering?
Oh.
I prune by stool layering?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe you should elaborate, Steve, because we don't know. If you know anybody that does storm shelters in South Carolina, it looks like the Hidden Oasis Homestead needs one there.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty flat where you are. Yeah. You're gonna need a storm shelter. It's not a bad idea. Or a basement. It seems like that's something people could just, design in with their house around here and have a basement. But
yeah, we have a basement, so that's what we do for our storm.
Yeah, I've got a basement on my house, and this is every house I built for myself, I put a basement on, and it's funny where I live now. We went down 4 feet and hit almost solid rock. And
oh wow.
I told my buddy that's got a big ram on his track hoe, I called him. I'm like, hey, bring that thing out of here and start busting rock for me. My dad drives up, and they're out there just busting rock. He rolls the window down on the truck, and he goes, what are you doing? I was like, we're digging a basement the hard way. He goes, that sucks. And he rolled the window up and drove off. Didn't come back for like two or three days. And I'm like, hey, where have you been? He goes, I didn't want to hear. He said, I didn't want to hear that crap all day long. And then he goes, how much? He goes, how much did that cost you? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Did you get a basement?
So do all hunting. Yes, basement. You can. Do all hunting. You can use a root cellar as a storm shelter. That's what my grandparents did when my mom was a little girl.
Oh, really?
Hey, Bruce is here. Hi, Bruce. Okay.
What's up, Bruce?
Is still layering when you bury the tips to propagate the plant instead of parting it grow. I'm lost here. Parting it grow up.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know what like air layering is and like actual layering in the ground is, but I don't know what stool layering is. I'm not familiar with that term.
Okay, this one says, could I use white willow bark capsules to help rooting? Hoping to move a currant bush and start a second from a cutting.
I don't know. White willow bark capsules. I don't know why that's a thing. I don't know. I think the willow cuttings, whenever you're using willow cuttings to help rooting, you want to use like the new growth on the willow and cut those up into like 1 to 2 inch sections and then let it soak in the water, ideally for 2 weeks before you actually stick your whatever you're trying to root in there, your rootstock or whatever it may be. I don't know that a capsule form of white willow bark would actually work. It might. I'm just not entirely sure. If the contents were, I really don't know. I'm assuming probably not, because it is important to use that 1 to 2 year new growth on the ends of the willow branches if you're using it for a rooting hormone. Yeah. When the jalapeno. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
When the jalapeno gets built, it should work as storm shelter, storage, and greenhouse. Yes, it should, Vicky. Yeah. She's got a very, very interesting property. It's got a lot of terrain, a lot of possibilities. It's got caves, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Well, you can use a cave as a storm shelter.
It's not necessarily a cave that you're gonna fit in. And
hey, here we go. Natalia is getting ready to educate us.
All right.
It says stool layering or mound layering is used as propagation. Plant is cut back to 1 inch above the soil surface during the dormant season. Dormant buds will produce new shoots in the spring. Well, there you go.
Wow. Plant is cut back 1 inch above the soil. Huh.
Y'all did not know you was going to get smarter tonight, did you?
That sounds like coppicing.
It does.
Bruce wants to know where you got your jacket.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually used to work. I've had this jacket for years. I actually used to work at the Preferred plant over there in Mount Pleasant, Texas. Yeah, the farm and ranch equipment. Yeah, that's where I got this from. I was cold one day and went up and grabbed a jacket while I was at work. But yeah. And it's actually an awesome jacket. It blocks the wind very well. It's nice and warm. It's lasted this whole time. But yeah, this was like from years and years ago.
Rosie, we can't wait to see you either.
Bruce has stomped around down in Texas a long time ago.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicky. Yeah, the only flat land you have on your property is the stuff you make. Everything's
Vicky, I feel you. That's what our property is too.
Yeah. I should check how many properties I've visited in my entire life.
You've been to my house?
I've been to a lot of places. Man. That's wild.
You should do one of those United States maps and put a pin at every place you've consulted. And then you'd be like, look at how much influence I have over the country. That's pretty awesome.
I don't know about influence. I've just seen a lot of them. Yeah.
Dude, let me tell you. When we moved in out here, so I'm going to put a plug in for William over here. You're over here.
Yeah.
When we moved in out here, I was so excited about having, property and being able to homestead and grow our own food and all that stuff. And when I went out into the backyard, I was just like, I was ready to cry because I had no idea where to start. I had no idea what to do. I was so frustrated, like analysis paralysis, all of that stuff. And I had been watching your all's channel. And I reached out to you to do a phone consultation. And by the time that was over, I was like, okay, he needs to come to the house. And without you coming to the house and looking at everything and, drawing those maps and that book that you gave me with just a list, do this first, then do this, then do this. And the fact that you took the time to ask us, what are your goals? Where do you want to be in 3 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be past that? What do you want to happen here? And you took all of that into consideration, made a plan for us. And that was like the tipping point when that happened. I was like, okay, I know what to do. And it was like a weight was lifted off of me. Everybody, if you want to have any part of regenerative farming or working with the land, which is what you should be doing, you should be doing permaculture. It's just easier for real. If you want anything to do with that, you need to contact William, and because he's going to lay it out for you. And he's a super awesome guy. You need to hook up with him for real.
Thank you so much, Shelly. That was awesome.
And Thanks so much. Yeah, going off what Shelly said, the whole book and maps and everything that you drew, almost every other time I go to Shelly's house, she pulls that out because we're talking about something, and she pulls it out and she's like, "Hey, here's the whole thing. We can look at it."
Oh, yeah.
The other day when we were castrating pigs, she pulled it out to look at something because we were talking about how to lay some of her.
That's what we do, William.
Out.
That's what we do.
But yeah, she pulled it out.
This is who we are now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. Oh man. But thank you so much. That really means a lot. I'm glad it was helpful. It's always like, I don't know. I'm always paranoid about like whether or not the visit was beneficial or like anything that I'm writing is beneficial and stuff like that. There's always that paranoia in the back of your head, like, man, I hope this is making sense. I hope what I'm writing down is translating well. But also, like, because I understand that the number one like stopping point for people who are brand new to this is like, where did they even start? The first thing you think of whenever you think of a farm is animals. So the first thing a lot of people do is like, oh, I need to get animals. And most of the time people get way too many animals way too early. And then they get tired of how much they have to put in to just upkeep the animals. And then they get tired of it and then they quit and then they sell off the animals, or the animals get neglected and then stop rotating. And then you end up with a worse property than it was whenever you found it.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you. I appreciate those kind words, Shelly. Thank you so much.
So this says, could you talk a little bit about swales for a fruit orchard? Where should you put the swales? Reason behind swales?
So, okay, I'll start with the reasons. The point of a swale is a perfectly level ditch. It's on contour. So if you look at a topographical map, every single one of those lines is a perfectly level line. It's all on the same elevation. You're going to put a ditch on one of those lines, and everything you excavate out of the ditch, you're going to put immediately on the downhill side of the ditch. Now, the purpose of this is to passively capture and harvest rainwater. So as it rains, it creates runoff, flows into the swale, and it stores it, and it makes it soak into the landscape, and you're building a miniature aquifer on the downhill side of the swale. Now, it's not always applicable. Like, you don't always want to put down swales. Sometimes your slope is too steep. Sometimes it limits too much access. There's a bunch of variables. So I would for sure have somebody come out and double check before you just put swales up. Greg Judy has somebody put up swales in his pastures and it limited too much access. And now he doesn't use swales. Had he had a better experience and stuff like that, then he might employ them a little bit more often, but that's what it is. If you're in an arid environment, then you plant your trees in the ditch part of the swale. If you're in any other place, then you plant it in the mound part of the swale. There's a bunch of benefits to it. Like around here, we have a super high water table. So it gives the tree a little bit more elevation away from the water table to grow roots and stuff like that. If the trees don't like wet feet or anything, they get a little bit of escape from the swales. But yeah, it's a water harvesting, nutrient trap regrowing system, to put it in a term, I should say.
Are there any good plants to put in the bottom of a swale that can be used to feed animals?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can.
Everything.
Everything. It depends on how much rain and how frequent your rain is. Like if you do get like enough rain to create runoff pretty frequently throughout the year, then you might not be able to establish many plants there. If you do and it's constantly full, then you might be able to plant duckweed or azolla or something like that. But and that you can feed your animals. That's also super high in protein. But yeah. What are your rates for phone, not in-person consultations? If you send me an email, I'll be glad to tell you.
Yeah, there we go. $1 million.
Yeah, just shoot me an email at the Permaculture Consultant at gmail.com. And it's linked in all my videos down below. So I can't wait till he does our consultation. Yeah, I can't wait to come out there
People
either.
are getting excited.
they bought a beautiful place down in South Carolina. It's awesome. It is a really cool spot. Like beautiful views. It's in like the lowlands and stuff. It's really cool. I'm not going to give away your location exactly, so don't worry. What are your thoughts about thermal geo greenhouses? We have a short growing season here. You definitely should do some sort of high tunnel or greenhouse, like a Chinese greenhouse where it's like dug into the earth a little bit would probably serve you the best. Also, having some sort of off-grid heating system in your guys's, because you're in like northern Idaho, and in elevation. Homesteading Pastor, hey, what's up?
Pastor Lon is in the house.
Yeah. But yeah, you are in elevation, so you're even colder than where like northern Idaho usually would be. So I would, definitely a high tunnel, and then definitely some sort of heating source for that high tunnel, and like a thermal sink of some sort to absorb the heat and store it throughout the winter. Hey, I'm having technical difficulties real quick. I might have to close this lid for a second and then open it back up. 1 second.
There were too many comments coming in at once. It fried his computer.
Yep. A lot of people have questions for William.
Yep. We're gonna suck his YouTube Q&A out now because he's not gonna have any questions to answer.
Nope.
Shelly, tell a few of the people while William's gone. Let's hit the festival part real quick.
Oh,
all right. So, yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, I can't see you guys. My screen just went black.
We just see a little round circle with a little dude in the middle of it.
Well, I don't know what's going on, but I can hear you guys. I guess I can at least talk. I don't know why, but my screen just went completely black.
William, if you want to restart it and log back on, you can. Shelly's going to talk about the festival for a minute.
Okay, that works. I'll try to get it figured out on my side.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get William back quick. The festival, Kentucky Sustainable Living, Homesteading, and Preparedness Festival, is March 23rd and 24th. I'm sorry, in Bowling Green, Kentucky, at the WKU Ag Expo Center. We have an awesome lineup of people, and I'm not prepared, so give me just a second, and I'll tell you who those people are. One of them is going to be William Bond, of course. That's why we have this live on with him. William's going to be talking about permaculture and incorporating that into your new homestead design, or even if you have an outstanding home or, a homestead going right now, he can talk to you about that as well. He's also going to be he's going to bring his microscope, and he's going to be talking about soil health. So if you want to bring a soil sample from your land, he can talk about, there he is. He can talk to you about.
In on my phone. Oh, sorry.
All right.
Go ahead.
You're fine. But he can talk to you about soil health and what is going on with that. We're also going to have Jeff Smith. He's going to be talking about Preparedness 101. If you were at the festival last year, Jeff Smith was there and did a talk on
getting home.
Getting home. Yeah, if something happened, if there was a natural disaster or something. And then he talked about old tools, and that was really interesting. I got to sit in on that one. I learned a lot from that one. We're going to have Toolman Tim. If you're familiar with him, he's going to be talking about stopping the poverty mindset. Everybody needs to hear that talk. Nicole Sauce is going to be there from Living Free in Tennessee, and she's going to be talking about I cannot talk. Pantry management. Angry American. Do y'all know who Chris Weatherman is? Recently, Jason and I were able to do a video with him, and I think it's going to be on his channel like in a week or so. Yeah. He is awesome. So he has written something like 23 books. He's written the Going Home people know it as the Going Home series, but it's actually the Survivalist series. And I had no idea who this dude was. And Jason was all excited because he was like, oh my God, I got Angry American. Chris Weatherman's going to be there. And I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. So I didn't want to look like an idiot when I talked to the guy. So I got his first book, Going Home, the one in the Survivalist series, and started reading it. I am now on book 8 because I'm completely addicted. I love these books. He's an excellent author. It's really, really good stuff. And I just love it. You need to come out and see him, talk to him. He'll have a booth set up where you can buy his books and everything. We're also going to have Bill Stormfeather. He's going to be talking about the first 30 days after something happens. Bill comes to us with the expertise of having witnessed firsthand third world countries where they've had economic collapses and stuff. So like he knows what he's talking about there. We're going to have the Angry Prepper. Apparently in the prepping community, there's a lot of angry people, but so the Angry Prepper is in New York City. He's a fireman up there, and he's going to be talking about bugging out of an urban environment. If you all are located in big cities, you might want to hear what this guy has to say. Not last. This is actually, I'm just going through our speaker list. We have several demonstrators that are going to be there as well. But Amanda Blount is going to be there, and she's going to be talking about micro farming. So if you have 5 acres, 10 acres, a quarter acre, a backyard patio, or whatever, she's going to be talking to you about how to grow food, how to sustain yourself, and even how to make a little bit of money off of that. We've got a guy that's going to be demonstrating how to build a bug out bag. We've got a guy that's going to be demonstrating how to make apple cider vinegar. Leslie Gossett, our herbalist that was there last year. We love Leslie. She's awesome. She's going to be there showing us how to make tinctures, and she's going to be doing not a pasture walk, but a herbal walk. Chuck Peoples is going to be teaching how to build a medical bag. We've got somebody there that's going to be doing talking about sourdough and demonstrating how to do that. Brian and Susan Dudley are going to do an amateur radio demonstration. We've got 2 guys from the show Naked and Afraid, but they're not going to be scary and they're going to have clothes on. One of them is going to be doing a demonstration on situational awareness, and the other one is going to be, he's the guy doing the bug out bag demonstration. And then we've got Sean Terrio that's going to be talking to you about digital privacy. I think I covered everybody. Does that sound like it, Jason?
I think so.
You want to talk to him about the dinner?
Yeah. Saturday. Well, first on Friday, we have a ham radio workshop. William's coming to that, and we're going to get William licensed on ham radio. We got a ham radio workshop that you can sign up for. The workshop, you're going to get study material. You're going to get a couple Zoom meetings with the people that are putting it on, and you're going to get a ham cram that morning and then take the test to get licensed and then go out and do your radio stuff and learn actually how to use those radios. You get a radio in the class that you get to take home with you. The other workshop we've got is Chuck Peoples with Homestead Medical. He's going to be teaching a homestead medical workshop, which it's a full 8-hour class on. It's got some of the cool guy ninja stuff, the trauma, but the bulk of the class is how to treat and care for patients in the long term. And if you can't get help immediately, what you need to do with that and assessing patients and stuff like that. So it's not just a stop the bleed class. This is a full all-day class. And honestly, for the money, it's probably the best class out there, to be honest with you. Those two workshops are on Friday. They're a paid class to do before the festival. And then on Saturday night, we have a dinner, a charity dinner for Vets for Child Rescue. You can buy tickets online. The tickets are $250. You're going to get to have prime rib dinner that Saturday night with all the speakers, all the demonstrators that are there. So if you've got a few questions for somebody, you can get with them, ask them a couple questions, eat a good meal. We're going to have some real good bourbon, some real good wine. We're going to have an auctioning off a lot of stuff to help raise money for that. we raised almost $11,000 last October when we did it. So, guys, if you want to come to that dinner, it's going to be an awesome dinner, and we really want to raise as much money as we can for that organization Saturday night. And also, Homesteading Pastor, if you're still here, I sent you an email about coming up and doing a Palm Sunday service if you wanted to, because Sunday of the festival is Palm Sunday. So, Homesteading Pastor, if you can, if you're interested, email me, please. What else, Shelley?
He might have service at his own church.
I know. I thought about that too.
Yeah.
H. Sinclair wants to know if these talks are going to be recorded. We're working on that. That was kind of hard last time, but we're working on seeing if we can get some quality recordings from these sessions or whatever. So we'll just have to let you know about that.
Okay.
So if you would like
worst
to,
case scenario, we could just all record them and put them on YouTube. Just upload them as actual videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to do that last time, but one of our speakers, I think you might know who it is. I uploaded one of her videos and it got my channel, like I got a bad mark or whatever on my channel. So sometimes, I don't know, sometimes that doesn't work well. So if you'd like to write to me, my email address is shelly.randolph, RANDOLPH @gmail.com. Send me a note. Let's see. Oh, she's just talking to, or he's just talking to somebody else about the greenhouse thing. I'm going through, seeing if anybody has any questions. I may have missed a couple.
We might.
Miss Sharon says it would be awesome if we could go live with this. That would be awesome. We might try to do that, right, Jason?
Yeah. We might be able to do a little bit. We've got good Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on almost an hour. We've got all kinds of stuff to do. Well, I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
William will be there getting his ham license, talking about soil, talking about setting, talking about. You're more excited about that than anything, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be doing all kinds of exploring. I'm gonna see how far I can reach out there. You're like, hey, have you heard of permaculture?
See, William, I tell everybody about you.
Well,
thank you so much.
Forrest
oh, wow.
Forrest will be at the festival. Forrest, you can meet William when you come up.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you, Forrest. Awesome.
Forrest is pretty good.
Hey, does Forrest live near the festival?
Forrest is in Alabama, right? I'm pretty sure Forrest is in Alabama.
Okay. All right. Well, if we can schedule it so where, like, I'm doing your consultation in transit, then it'll be a cheaper price. So, yeah. If that works out for your time, of course, I guess I can email you about it. I guess we don't have to talk about it on a live stream. But, yeah.
Forrest,
hey, one other thing. One other thing. For more information about the festival, you can go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com. You can get your tickets there. If you use coupon code email25, you can get $10 off the cost of your ticket. And that'll be off of each ticket. So go check it out. We have one more question, William. It says, my Russian 14 comfrey is still dormant. When should I dig it up and take root cuttings to transplant?
I think what?
Dang. Did it kick me off for the last question? Can y'all see me?
Yeah, we can see you. You just kind of
you.
glitched out.
Okay. Yeah, it froze. I heard the question and then it froze on me. Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties. But I would give it a month after it pops up. Give it about a month and a half. I'm not sure where you live, but as soon as it pops up out of the ground, I would give it another month and a half, and then you could dig it up, and then you should have pretty substantial roots by that point, especially if it's been planted long enough to go dormant. So yeah, you should have some pretty good roots by the end of, or mid-spring, I should say.
Pastor Lon, I totally understand that. So we'll go once around.
William, where can they find you?
You can find me on everything called the Permaculture Consultant. Just duck go that, and you should find everything I'm on. Yep.
Except for the trailer park and TikTok, right?
Actually, you'll find me on TikTok. I just repost the reels and all that stuff over to TikTok.
You came over to the meth lab?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not on X. I traded it out for X.
That's what I tell.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's what I tell everybody. It's like Instagram is like the nice upscale neighborhood, and then TikTok is like the methed out trailer park or something.
Yep, you're not wrong, man. It's like it's like the low budget Instagram. It's like all the videos are glitchy and they're kind of blocky and everything.
Oh yeah, well, I mean they let Kyle the backwoods butcher on there all the time. So I mean it's a little trailer park with him on there. So
don't be knocking Kyle.
Poor Kyle.
He'll see it and I'll get a text message. So they can find you everywhere at the Permaculture Consultant then, correct?
Yes, they can. Yep, somebody just followed me as soon as I said that too. DHT Nursery.
All right.
Awesome.
Shelly, where can everybody find you and your soap?
You can find us at Two Old Crows Homestead on YouTube and twooldcrowshomestead.com if you want some
Turn that
soap.
simp into a pimp.
That's right. Where you at, Jason?
Y'all can find me at Kentucky Sustainable Living on YouTube. Like Shelly said before, our website is kentuckysustainableliving.com. I'm on the trailer park at TikTok also, and I've got an upscale house on Instagram. I don't do a whole lot with it, but there's some stuff on there. And guys, we hope to see y'all.
Are you saying it's easier to be trashy on TikTok? Is that what it is?
Pretty much. So I just want to.
You're redneck.
I'm trying to wear my glasses where I look a little smarter.
Yeah, I've been noticing you've been wearing them in the videos here lately.
It's because
trying to look like you're all that.
It's because I can't see sometimes. So, but it's getting deep. So, William, I appreciate you coming on here. It was fun. I'm glad these people got a bunch of questions in. I had a good time with it, guys. Buy your tickets online. Use the coupon code. Buy your tickets ahead of time. That helps us plan out a whole bunch. And don't forget about the charity dinner. And we will see y'all. Well, actually, we're going to be on at 7 o'clock with another live. We're going to be on with Bobby Spags with Midwest Preparedness and Nicole Sauce with Self-Reliance Festival. And we'll be back on here at 7 o'clock. So, and we will see y'all in just a little while. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.